Keanu Reeves' fiancée humiliates the cook in front of everyone. What he does leaves everyone in shock. The glittering lights of Los Angeles cast a magical glow over the exclusive Starlight Hotel, where the city's elite had gathered for what was undoubtedly the most anticipated event of the year. Tonight, Hollywood's beloved star Keanu Reeves was celebrating his engagement to Vivian Hastings, a socialite known for her stunning beauty and vast fortune. The air was electric with excitement. Champagne flowed freely, and camera flashes illuminated the faces of celebrities, journalists, and business moguls who had all come to witness this union of two of LA's most famous figures. Keanu, dressed in an impeccably tailored black tuxedo, stood near the entrance, greeting guests with his signature warm smile and humble demeanor. Despite his fame and success, he had always maintained a down-to-earth attitude that endeared him to fans and colleagues alike. Tonight, however, there was an added sparkle in his eyes as he introduced his fiancée to the arrivals. Vivienne was a vision in a sleek champagne-colored gown that hugged her curves and sparkled under the chandeliers. Her golden hair was styled in elegant waves, and a diamond necklace adorned her slender neck. She laughed and chatted with the guests, her voice carrying a hint of excitement as she showed off her enormous engagement ring. As the evening progressed, the grand ballroom filled with the sounds of clinking glasses and animated conversations. Waiters glided between groups, offering hors d'oeuvres and refilling flutes of the finest champagne. The atmosphere was one of luxury and celebration, a perfect reflection of the couple at the center of it all. In the kitchen, however, the mood was vastly different. Eleanor Carter, the chef responsible for the evening's culinary delights, moved with practiced efficiency, her brow furrowed in concentration. At 45, Eleanor had worked her way up from humble beginnings to become one of the most sought-after chefs in Los Angeles. Tonight's event was a crowning achievement in her career, and she was determined to make it perfect. As she put the finishing touches on a tray of canapés, Eleanor couldn't help but feel a twinge of nostalgia. She remembered a time, not so long ago, when she had worked as a cook in the Hastings family home. It had been a stepping stone in her career, but the memories weren't all pleasant. Shaking off the thought, she focused on the task at hand. This was her moment to shine, and she wouldn't let old memories cloud her judgment. Back in the ballroom, Keanu found a moment of respite from the constant attention. He leaned against a pillar, observing the crowd with a mixture of gratitude and slight unease. Despite years in the spotlight, he still felt a bit overwhelmed by such lavish displays. His eyes scanned the room, taking in the faces of friends and strangers alike, all here to celebrate his happiness. But was he truly happy? As if sensing his momentary doubt, Vivienne appeared at his side, slipping her arm through his. "Darling, isn't this just wonderful?" she purred, her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "Everyone who's anyone is here. It's perfect." Keanu nodded, offering a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "It's certainly something," he agreed, his voice low and thoughtful. He was about to say more when a commotion near the kitchen doors caught his attention. Eleanor had emerged from the kitchen, clipboard in hand, intending to check that everything was going according to plan. As she surveyed the room, her eyes met Vivian's, and for a moment time seemed to stand still. Recognition flickered across both women's faces, followed quickly by very different emotions. Vivian's lips curled into a smirk, her eyes narrowing as she detached herself from Keanu and sauntered towards Eleanor. The chef stood her ground, though her grip on the clipboard tightened noticeably. "Well, well," Vivian's voice rang out, silencing nearby conversations. "If it isn't Eleanor Carter, still cooking for the rich and famous, I see." Eleanor's cheeks flushed, but she maintained her composure. "Good evening, Ms. Hastings. I hope you're enjoying the event." Vivian's laugh was sharp and without humor. "Oh, I am. It's just so quaint, isn't it? The very same woman who used to serve coffee in my parents' house is now catering my engagement party. Life has such a delicious sense of irony, doesn't it?" The room had fallen silent, all eyes now on the unfolding scene. Eleanor's gaze dropped to the floor, her shoulders hunching slightly under the weight of Vivian's words and the stares of the onlookers. Keanu, who had been watching the exchange with growing concern, felt a surge of anger rise within him. He had always prided himself on treating everyone with kindness and respect, regardless of their status or position. Seeing Vivienne's cruel display was like a bucket of cold water, washing away the glamour of the evening and revealing an ugly truth beneath. Without hesitation, he strode across the room, his presence immediately drawing attention. But instead of going to Vivienne's side, as everyone expected, he stopped next to Eleanor. Gently he took her hand, causing her to look up in surprise. "If there's anyone here who deserves applause tonight, it's you," Keanu said, his voice carrying clearly through the stunned silence of the ballroom. He turned to address the crowd, still holding Eleanor's hand. "This woman has worked tirelessly to create an incredible feast for us all. She's dedicated her life to bringing joy through her cooking, and I, for one, am grateful for her talent and her efforts." A murmur rippled through the guests. Vivienne's face had drained of color, her mouth opening and closing wordlessly. Eleanor stood frozen, barely breathing, as if afraid any movement might shatter this surreal moment. Keanu continued, his voice growing stronger with each word. "In fact, I'd like to propose a toast." He grabbed a flute of champagne from a nearby waiter's tray. "To Eleanor Carter, whose hard work and passion have made this evening truly special. May we all strive to show such dedication and grace in our lives." As he raised his glass, a ripple of movement went through the crowd. Slowly, uncertainly at first, then with growing enthusiasm, the guests began to raise their glasses as well. The room filled with a chorus of "To Eleanor," leaving the chef blushing furiously, but standing a little straighter. Vivienne, her face, now a mask of fury, stomped her foot like a child throwing a tantrum. "Keanu, what do you think you're doing?" she hissed, her voice shrill with anger and embarrassment. Keanu turned to her, his expression calm but determined. "I'm doing what I should have done a long time ago, Vivienne. I'm standing up for what's right." He addressed the room once more, his voice carrying a note of finality. "I want to thank you all for coming tonight, but I'm afraid I have an announcement to make. This engagement party is over. Not just the party, but the engagement itself." The gasps and whispers that erupted were deafening. Vivienne's face contorted in shock and rage. "You can't be serious. You're ending our engagement over a cook?" Keanu shook his head, his voice gentle but firm. "No, Vivienne. I'm ending it because I've realized that we don't share the same values. Kindness, respect, and appreciation for others. These are things I hold dear. And tonight you've shown me that you don't." With that, he turned back to Eleanor, who was staring at him with wide, disbelieving eyes. "I'm so sorry you had to experience that," he said softly. "Would you like to get some air?" Still dazed, Eleanor could only nod. As Keanu led her towards the terrace doors, the ballroom erupted into chaos behind them. Vivienne's shrieks of outrage mingled with the excited chatter of guests, all trying to process the unexpected turn of events. Outside, the cool night air helped clear Eleanor's head. She took a deep breath, finally finding her voice. "Mr. Reeves, I don't know what to say, thank you, but why? Why would you do that for me?" Keanu's smile was gentle, his eyes twinkling in the soft light of the garden lanterns. "Because it was the right thing to do, and please call me Keanu." As they stood there, the sounds of the disrupted party fading into the background, neither of them could have predicted how this moment would change their lives forever. The night that was supposed to celebrate one love story ending had unexpectedly opened the door to another, far more genuine and heartfelt tale. Before we continue with this captivating story, we'd love to hear from you. If you're enjoying this tale of unexpected twists and heartwarming moments, please consider subscribing to our channel. Share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know where you're watching from. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us bring more stories like this to life. Now let's get back to Keanu and Eleanor's unfolding story. In the days that followed, the media exploded with news of Keanu Reeves' shocking announcement. Tabloids plastered their front pages with sensational headlines, while social media buzzed with theories and opinions. Some praised Keanu for his act of kindness, while others speculated about hidden motives or secret affairs. Through it all, Keanu maintained his characteristic calm, refusing to give interviews or make public statements. He retreated to his modest home in the Hollywood Hills, seeking solace from the storm of attention. For Eleanor, the aftermath was equally overwhelming. Overnight, she had gone from being an anonymous chef to a person of intense public interest. Reporters camped outside her small apartment, hoping for a statement or a glimpse of the woman who had inadvertently caused one of Hollywood's most talked-about breakups. A week after the fateful night, Eleanor sat in her tiny kitchen, nursing a cup of coffee and trying to make sense of how her life had changed so dramatically. The constant attention was wearing on her nerves, and she found herself longing for the simple days when her biggest worry was perfecting a new recipe. A knock at the door startled her from her reverie. Warily she approached, half expecting to find another persistent journalist. Instead, when she opened the door, she found herself face to face with Keanu Reeves. "Hi," he said, his voice soft and a little uncertain. "I hope I'm not intruding. I wanted to check on you, see how you're doing with all of this." Eleanor blinked, momentarily stunned. Then, remembering her manners, she stepped back. "Please, come in. I was just having some coffee. Would you like a cup?" Keanu's face lit up with a warm smile. "That would be wonderful, thank you." As Eleanor busied herself in the kitchen, Keanu took in his surroundings. The apartment was small but cozy, filled with cookbooks and colorful kitchenware. It was a stark contrast to the opulent homes he was used to in Hollywood, but there was something incredibly welcoming about it. "I'm sorry if I'm adding to the chaos in your life," Keanu said, as Eleanor handed him a steaming mug. "I never meant for things to get so out of hand." Eleanor shook her head, a small smile playing on her lips. "You don't need to apologize. What you did that night, it was incredibly kind. I've just never been in the spotlight like this before. It's a bit overwhelming." Keanu nodded understandingly. "I know the feeling. Even after all these years, I still struggle with it sometimes. But it will pass, I promise. People will find something new to talk about soon enough." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, sipping their coffee. Eleanor found herself studying Keanu's face, noting the gentle kindness in his eyes that seemed so at odds with his superstar status. "Can I ask you something?" she ventured. When Keanu nodded encouragingly, she continued, "Why did you really call off your engagement? Was it really because of what happened with me?" Keanu set down his mug, his expression thoughtful. "Honestly, what happened that night was just the final push I needed. I'd been having doubts for a while, but I kept pushing them aside. Seeing how Vivian treated you, it made me realize that I was about to marry someone whose values were completely different from my own." He paused, running a hand through his hair. "I've always believed that how a person treats others, especially those they perceive as beneath them, says a lot about their character. Vivian showed me who she really was that night, and it wasn't someone I wanted to spend my life with." Eleanor nodded slowly, absorbing his words. "I can understand that. It must have been a difficult decision, though." "It was," Keanu admitted, "but it was the right one. And in a way, I should thank you. You helped me avoid making a huge mistake." Eleanor laughed softly. "Well, I'm glad something good came out of my humiliation." Keanu's expression grew serious. "You have nothing to be humiliated about, Eleanor. You've worked hard to get where you are. You should be proud of your accomplishments." His words warmed her heart, chasing away some of the lingering embarrassment she'd been feeling. For the first time since that night, Eleanor felt herself truly relaxing. As they continued to talk, the conversation flowed easily between them. They discussed their childhoods, their struggles, their passions. Keanu was fascinated by Eleanor's journey from a simple cook to a renowned chef, while Eleanor found herself captivated by Keanu's stories from his long career in Hollywood. Hours passed unnoticed, the afternoon sun giving way to evening shadows. It wasn't until Eleanor's stomach growled audibly that they realized how much time had passed. Keanu chuckled. "I guess we've worked up an appetite. How about we order some takeout?" Eleanor raised an eyebrow, a mischievous glint in her eye. "Takeout? In the home of a professional chef? I don't think so." She stood up, moving towards the kitchen with purpose. "Give me 30 minutes and I'll whip up something that'll make you forget all about takeout." Keanu's eyes lit up with excitement. "Can I help?" Eleanor hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Sure, why not? But fair warning, I run a tight ship. In my kitchen. As they worked side by side, chopping vegetables and searing meat, a comfortable rhythm developed between them. Keanu proved to be a quick learner, following Eleanor's instructions with enthusiasm. Their laughter filled the small kitchen, creating a warm, intimate atmosphere that felt worlds away from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. When they finally sat down to eat, Keanu took a bite and closed his eyes in bliss. "This is incredible," he said, his voice filled with genuine awe. "You truly have a gift, Eleanor." She blushed at the compliment, feeling a surge of pride. "Thank you. It's nice to cook for someone who really appreciates it." As they enjoyed their meal, Keanu found himself marveling at how comfortable he felt in this modest apartment with this remarkable woman. There was no pretense here, no need to maintain a celebrity image. For the first time in a long while, he felt like he could truly be himself. As the evening wore on, neither Keanu nor Eleanor seemed eager for it to end. They moved to Eleanor's small living room, settling onto her well-worn but comfortable couch. The conversation flowed effortlessly, punctuated by laughter and moments of thoughtful silence. "You know," Keanu said, his voice soft and reflective, "I can't remember the last time I felt this normal, this comfortable." Eleanor tilted her head, curious. "What do you mean?" He sighed, searching for the right words. "In my world, everything is always so performative. Even when I'm not on set, I'm still Keanu Reeves, the actor. People have expectations, preconceived notions. But here with you, I just feel like me." Eleanor felt a warmth spread through her chest at his words. "I'm glad," she said simply, offering him a gentle smile. "Everyone deserves a place where they can just be themselves." As the clock ticked past midnight, Keanu reluctantly stood to leave. At the door, he paused, turning back to Eleanor with an earnest expression. "Thank you for today. For the food, the conversation, everything. I'd like to see you again if that's okay." Eleanor nodded, trying to ignore the flutter in her stomach. "I'd like that too." Over the next few weeks, Keanu and Eleanor fell into a comfortable routine. He would visit her apartment, always bringing some small gift, a rare spice, a vintage cookbook, once even a set of hand-forged Japanese knives that made Eleanor gasp with delight. In return, she would cook for him, each meal a new adventure for his taste buds. Their time together was a respite from the outside world, which continued to buzz with speculation about Keanu's broken engagement and his connection to the mystery chef. But within the confines of Eleanor's cozy apartment, none of that seemed to matter. One evening, as they sat on Eleanor's small balcony watching the sun set over the city, Keanu turned to her with a serious expression. "Eleanor, there's something I need to tell you." She felt her heart skip a beat, unsure of what to expect. "What is it?" He took a deep breath. "I've been offered a role in a new film. It's an incredible opportunity, but it would mean going to New Zealand for 6 months." Eleanor felt a pang in her chest, but she forced a smile. "Keanu, that's wonderful news. You should absolutely take it." He studied her face intently. "Are you sure? I don't want to leave, not when we're just starting to—" He trailed off, leaving the sentence unfinished. Eleanor reached out, squeezing his hand gently. "This is your career, your passion. You can't put that on hold for whatever this is between us." She paused, gathering her courage. "But maybe, if you want, we could stay in touch while you're gone." Keanu's face lit up with relief and happiness. "I'd love that. And maybe if you're not too busy, you could come visit the set sometime." The idea of stepping into Keanu's world was both thrilling and terrifying, but Eleanor found herself nodding. "I'd like that," she said softly. The day of Keanu's departure arrived all too soon. Eleanor insisted on driving him to the airport, despite his protests that he could easily hire a car service. As they stood in the private terminal, away from prying eyes and cameras, neither seemed to know quite what to say. Finally, Keanu broke the silence. "I'm going to miss you," he said, his voice husky with emotion. Eleanor felt tears prickling at the corners of her eyes. "I'll miss you too, but this is going to be amazing for you. Just don't forget about me while you're off being a movie star, okay?" Keanu cupped her face gently, his eyes intense. "Eleanor, I could never forget you. You've become so important to me." For a moment it seemed like he might kiss her. Eleanor's heart raced, but then the moment passed. Keanu pulled her into a tight hug instead, and she buried her face in his chest, inhaling his scent, trying to memorize everything about this moment. As Keanu boarded his private jet, he turned back one last time, waving to Eleanor. She waved back, forcing a smile even as she felt a piece of her heart flying away with him. The next few months were a whirlwind for both of them. Keanu threw himself into his new role, working long hours on set in the stunning New Zealand landscape. Eleanor, meanwhile, found her career taking off in unexpected ways. The publicity from her connection to Keanu had brought her to the attention of several high-profile clients, and soon she was catering exclusive events and even discussing the possibility of her own cooking show. Despite their busy schedules, they made time to talk almost every day. Late-night phone calls and early-morning video chats became the highlights of their days. Keanu would describe the beautiful locations where they were filming, and Eleanor would share stories about her latest culinary creations. 3 months into the shoot, Keanu surprised Eleanor with a plane ticket to New Zealand. "I can't wait any longer to see you," he said over the phone, his voice warm and eager. "Please say you'll come." Eleanor hesitated only for a moment before agreeing. A week later, she found herself stepping off a plane into the crisp New Zealand air, her heart pounding with anticipation. Keanu was waiting for her at the airport, looking ruggedly handsome in jeans and a leather jacket. When he saw her, his face broke into a radiant smile, and he swept her into a tight embrace. "You're here," he murmured into her hair. "I can't believe you're really here." The next few days were like a dream. Keanu showed Eleanor around the beautiful countryside, introducing her to the cast and crew who welcomed her warmly. She watched in awe as he filmed intense action scenes, marveling at his dedication and skill. On her last night in New Zealand, Keanu took Eleanor to a secluded beach. They walked hand in hand along the shore, the moonlight casting a silvery glow over the waves. "Eleanor," Keanu said, stopping and turning to face her, "these past few months being away from you, it's made me realize something." She looked up at him, her heart racing. "What's that?" He took both her hands in his eyes shining with emotion. "I'm in love with you. I think I have been since that first day in your kitchen. You make me feel alive in a way I haven't felt in years. You see me for who I really am, not just the persona I present to the world. And I want to build a life with you, if you'll have me." Eleanor felt tears spilling down her cheeks. "Oh, Keanu," she whispered. "I love you too. So much." He pulled her close, and this time there was no hesitation. Their lips met in a kiss that was tender and passionate, years of pent-up emotion pouring out in a single, perfect moment. As they broke apart, both breathless and smiling, Keanu rested his forehead against hers. "So, what do you say? Are you ready for an adventure with me?" Eleanor laughed, joy bubbling up inside her. "With you, always." When they returned to Los Angeles a few months later, they were greeted by a media frenzy. Photos of them kissing on the beach in New Zealand had somehow leaked, and the world was abuzz with news of Keanu Reeves' new romance. But this time, neither of them minded the attention. They faced the cameras together, hand in hand, their love evident in every shared glance and tender touch. In the years that followed, Keanu and Eleanor built a life together that was filled with love, laughter, and, of course, incredible food. Eleanor's career flourished. She opened her own restaurant, which quickly became one of the most sought-after reservations in LA. Keanu continued to make movies, but he also found a new passion in producing films that showcased diverse voices and important social issues. They married in a small, intimate ceremony on the same beach in New Zealand, where they had first declared their love. It was a far cry from the lavish engagement party that had brought them together, but it was perfect in its simplicity and authenticity. As they stood together, watching the sun set on their wedding day, Keanu pulled Eleanor close. "You know," he said softly, "I never believed in fate before I met you. But now, I can't help but think that everything in my life was leading me to that moment in the ballroom, when I finally saw what really mattered." Eleanor smiled up at him, her heart full of love. "Well, Mr. Reeves," she said teasingly, "I'm certainly glad you figured it out." He laughed, pulling her in for a kiss. "Me too, Mrs. Reeves. Me too." Their story became a modern-day fairy tale, proof that true love could be found in the most unexpected places. But for Keanu and Eleanor, it wasn't about the fame or the headlines. It was about the quiet moments they shared, the laughter in the kitchen, the way they supported each other's dreams and passions. They had found in each other not just a partner, but a best friend, a confidant, and a home. And in the end, that was worth more than all the glitz and glamour Hollywood could offer. As the years passed, Keanu and Eleanor's love only grew stronger. They faced the challenges of their high-profile lives together, always finding strength in each other. Eleanor's restaurant became a culinary landmark, earning Michelin stars and rave reviews from critics worldwide. Keanu continued to choose roles that challenged him as an actor and allowed him to use his platform for good. Together, they established a foundation that supported young, aspiring chefs from underprivileged backgrounds, giving them the opportunity to pursue their culinary dreams. It was their way of paying forward the kindness and chance encounters that had brought them together. One evening, as they sat in their home overlooking the Pacific, Keanu turned to Eleanor with a mischievous glint in his eye. "You know," he said, "I never did thank Vivian for her part in bringing us together." Eleanor laughed, shaking her head. "I'm not sure she'd appreciate the sentiment." Keanu shrugged, pulling her close. "Maybe not, but I'm thankful every day for that moment. It changed my life in the best possible way." As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink, Eleanor rested her head on Keanu's shoulder. "Who would have thought," she mused, "that a moment of cruelty could lead to so much love?" Keanu kissed the top of her head gently. "That's the beauty of life, isn't it? You never know when one small moment might change everything." They sat, in comfortable silence, watching the last rays of sunlight fade away. Their journey had been unexpected, filled with twists and turns, but neither of them would change a thing. For in each other, they had found not just love, but a true partnership, a shared adventure that made every day feel like a new beginning. And as the stars began to twinkle in the darkening sky, Keanu and Eleanor knew that their greatest adventures were still to come. Together, they were ready to face whatever life had in store, their love a beacon guiding them through it all. In that moment, under the vast expanse of the star-studded sky, they were simply Keanu and Eleanor, not a famous actor and a renowned chef, but two people who had found in each other the missing piece of their hearts. And that, they both knew, was the greatest love story of all. As the years rolled by, Keanu and Eleanor's love story continued to captivate the public imagination. They became known not just for their individual successes, but for the strength of their partnership. In Hollywood, where relationships often burned bright and faded fast, theirs stood as a testament to enduring love and mutual respect. Their 10th wedding anniversary approached, and Keanu wanted to do something special to celebrate. He spent weeks planning in secret, determined to surprise Eleanor with a gesture that would show her just how much she meant to him. On the morning of their anniversary, Eleanor woke to find a note on Keanu's pillow. "Meet me where it all began," it read. Intrigued, she dressed quickly and made her way to the Starlight Hotel, the very place where their story had started a decade ago. As she entered the grand ballroom, Eleanor gasped. The room had been transformed into an exact replica of her old apartment kitchen, the one where she and Keanu had first truly connected. Every detail was perfect, from the worn countertops to the mismatched plates in the cupboards. Keanu stood in the center of it all, a soft smile on his face. "Happy anniversary, my love," he said, opening his arms to her. Eleanor rushed into his embrace, tears of joy and amazement in her eyes. "Keanu, I can't believe you did all this." He kissed her gently. "I wanted to remind us both of where our journey began, and to show you that no matter how much our lives have changed, my love for you has only grown stronger." As they stood there, holding each other in the recreated space of their early days, both were struck by how far they had come. From an unexpected meeting born out of cruelty, they had built a life filled with love, purpose, and joy. The day was filled with memories and laughter as they cooked together in the replica kitchen, recreating dishes from their early dates. Friends and family joined them later for a celebration that was both star-studded and intimately personal. As the party wound down, Keanu led Eleanor to a quiet corner. "I have one more surprise for you," he said, his eyes twinkling with excitement. He handed her an envelope. Inside, Eleanor found documents for a piece of land in the countryside outside Los Angeles. "I thought maybe we could build a home there," Keanu explained. "A place that's just ours, away from the spotlight, somewhere we can grow old together." Eleanor's heart swelled with love. "It's perfect," she whispered, pulling him in for a kiss. The next few years were a whirlwind of activity as they balanced their careers with the planning and construction of their dream home. The process had its challenges, but they faced them together, each obstacle only serving to strengthen their bond. Finally, the day came when they could move into their new home. It was a beautiful, sprawling property with a state-of-the-art kitchen for Eleanor, a private studio for Keanu, and plenty of space for them to entertain friends and family. As they stood on the porch of their new home, watching the sunset over the hills, Keanu wrapped his arm around Eleanor's waist. "Welcome home, Mrs. Reeves," he said softly. Eleanor leaned into him, a contented sigh escaping her lips. "It's more beautiful than I ever imagined," she said. Keanu kissed her temple gently. "Not as beautiful as you." Their new home became a sanctuary, a place where they could escape the pressures of their public lives and just be themselves. It was here that they faced their next great adventure, parenthood. The decision to start a family hadn't been an easy one. Both were in their 50s, and they worried about the challenges of being older parents. But their love for each other and their desire to share that love with a child ultimately led them to pursue adoption. After months of paperwork, interviews, and anxious waiting, they finally got the call. A baby girl had been born and she needed a home. Without hesitation, Keanu and Eleanor said yes. They named her Hope, a testament to the unexpected joy she had brought into their lives. The day they brought her home was one of the happiest of their lives. As they cradled their daughter between them, both marveled at how complete their family felt. Parenthood brought new challenges and joys. Late-night feedings and diaper changes were a far cry from Hollywood premieres and Michelin-starred kitchens, but neither Keanu nor Eleanor would have traded it for anything. They approached parenthood as they did everything else in their lives, as a team supporting each other through every step. As Hope grew, she became the perfect blend of her parents. She had Keanu's gentle spirit and Eleanor's fierce determination. They cherished every moment, from her first steps to her first day of school, always aware of how precious their little family was. Their careers evolved as well. Keanu became more selective with his roles, choosing projects that allowed him to spend more time at home. Eleanor scaled back her involvement in the day-to-day operations of her restaurant, focusing instead on mentoring young chefs and expanding her culinary education programs. One day, as they watched Hope playing in the garden, Keanu turned to Eleanor with a thoughtful expression. "You know," he said, "I've been thinking about writing a book." Eleanor raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Oh, what kind of book?" He smiled a bit sheepishly. "Our story, how we met, how we fell in love, all the ups and downs along the way. I want to share it with the world, if you're okay with that." Keanu considered for a moment, then nodded. "I think it's a wonderful idea. Our story might give hope to others, show them that true love can come in the most unexpected ways." And so Keanu began to write. In between film projects and family time, he poured their story onto the pages. Eleanor contributed her own memories and perspectives, making it truly a joint project. When the book was finally published, it became an instant bestseller. Readers around the world were captivated by the tale of the Hollywood star and the chef who found love in the most unlikely of circumstances. But more than just a love story, it was a testament to the power of kindness, to the importance of staying true to oneself, and to the beauty of second chances. It inspired countless readers to look for love in unexpected places, to stand up for what's right, and to never give up on their dreams. As they embarked on a book tour together, Keanu and Eleanor were touched by the outpouring of support and the stories shared by their readers. People from all walks of life approached them, sharing how their story had given them hope or courage in their own lives. One evening, after a particularly emotional book signing, Keanu and Eleanor sat in their hotel room, reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this point. "You know," Eleanor said softly, "when you stood up for me that night at the engagement party, I never could have imagined where it would lead us." Keanu took her hand, bringing it to his lips for a gentle kiss. "I couldn't have imagined it either, but I knew in that moment that you were someone special, someone worth fighting for." Eleanor leaned into him, resting her head on his shoulder. "We've come so far since then, built a life, a family, a home, and we're just getting started," Keanu added with a smile. "We have so many more adventures ahead of us." As they held each other close, both were filled with a deep sense of gratitude for the twist of fate that had brought them together, for the love they had found in each other, and for the life they had built together. Their story was far from over. There would be more challenges to face, more joys to celebrate, more love to share. But they would face it all together, just as they had from that very first night. In the end, theirs was more than just a love story. It was a reminder that sometimes the greatest adventures in life come from the most unexpected beginnings. That kindness and integrity can change the course of a life. And that true love, when found, is worth fighting for with every fiber of one's being. As the sun set on another day, Keanu and Eleanor Reeves stood on the porch of their home, their daughter playing nearby, and looked out at the life they had built together. It wasn't perfect, no life ever is, but it was theirs, filled with love, laughter, and the kind of deep, abiding connection that comes only once in a lifetime. And as they shared a tender kiss, both silently thanked the universe for that fateful night so many years ago, when a moment of cruelty had led to a lifetime of love. Their story was living proof that sometimes the most beautiful endings come from the most unexpected beginnings. In the years that followed, Keanu and Eleanor continued to inspire others with their love story and their commitment to making the world a better place. Their foundation grew, providing opportunities for aspiring chefs from all walks of life. Keanu's production company focused on telling diverse, meaningful stories that challenged societal norms and promoted understanding. Hope grew into a compassionate young woman, following in her parents' footsteps with her own passion for both the arts and culinary world. She became a beacon of light in her own right, using her unique upbringing to bridge gaps and bring people together. As they entered their golden years, Keanu and Eleanor's love only deepened. They faced the challenges of aging with grace and humor, always finding strength in each other. Their home remained a gathering place for friends, family, and those in need of a little extra kindness. On their 50th wedding anniversary, surrounded by loved ones, Keanu raised a toast to his beloved wife. "Eleanor," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "you are the best thing that ever happened to me. Thank you for 50 incredible years. Here's to 50 more." Eleanor, her eyes shining with tears of joy, squeezed his hand. "I'd go anywhere with you, Keanu. Always have, always will." As the celebration continued around them, they shared a private smile, remembering that night so long ago when a simple act of kindness had changed the course of their lives forever. Their love story had become legend, but for Keanu and Eleanor it was simply their life, a beautiful, unexpected adventure that they were grateful to share. And so, as the sun set on another chapter of their lives, Keanu and Eleanor Reeves stood, together, hand in hand, ready to face whatever the future might bring. Their love had withstood the test of time, growing stronger with each passing year, a testament to the enduring power of kindness, integrity, and true connection. In a world that often seemed chaotic and unpredictable, their love remained a constant. A shining example of what was possible when two hearts found their perfect match. And though their story had touched millions around the world, for Keanu and Eleanor, the greatest happiness was found in the quiet moments they shared together, in the home and life they had built, in the love that had started with a simple act of standing up for what was right. As night fell and stars began to twinkle in the sky, Keanu and Eleanor retired to their porch swing, a nightly ritual they had maintained for decades. Wrapped in each other's arms, they watched as the world around them settled into peaceful silence. "You know," Keanu murmured, his voice soft with contentment, "I still can't believe how lucky I am. Every day with you feels like a gift." Eleanor smiled, nestling closer to him. "We're both lucky. We found each other against all odds, and look at the life we've built." As they sat there reflecting on their journey, both were filled with a profound sense of gratitude for the love they had found, for the family they had created, for the lives they had touched. Their story was a testament to the power of love, kindness, and second chances, a reminder that sometimes the most beautiful stories come from the most unexpected beginnings. And so, as another day came to a close, Keanu and Eleanor Reeves held each other close, their hearts beating as one. Their love story, which had captivated the world, was far from over, for in each other's arms they had found not just a partner, but a home, and that they both knew was the greatest adventure of all.